I don't know her. I never met her. I have no idea who she is.
She would not be my first choice, that I can tell you.
What did you think when you heard their decision?
You said when you heard it, you went, hooray! That's how I felt inside.
Who is E. Jean Carroll? A lot of you may only know her because of this sexual assault case against Trump, but what exactly drove her to do this in the first place? Trump was found not guilty of the battery charges due to the lack of evidence, but Carroll was still awarded $5 million in damages after they found Trump liable for sexual abuse. Following the expansion of Carroll's separate defamation suit, the amount of damages Trump owes is yet to be determined. The anti-Trump judge Kaplan also dismissed Trump's countersuit for defamation in June 2023 after Carroll told CNN, yes, he did rape me.
You said you were obviously surprised, fighting. Right. Were you scared? Were you angry?
I was too panicked to be scared.
Too panicked to be scared, okay.
You know.
You said adrenaline was pumping.
I assume it was.
Right. Given the prior accusations, which have all been of forms of assault or harassment, you're saying there was actual penetration?
Yes.
That is the definition of rape?
That's the definition.
She would not be my first choice, that I can tell you.
What I would like to know is, why is this woman so determined to go after Trump over a story that cannot be verified? Is it part of another witch hunt against Trump? Another attempt at election interference, just like the other trials? We already know that political operatives in these trials are attacking Trump at every angle, but why this one? Let's start from the beginning. E. Jean Carroll is an 80-year-old former journalist who is best known as an advice columnist for Elle magazine for 26 years. The column focused on Carroll's view that women should never build their lives around men, and even wrote a book called What Do We Need Men For?, where she describes the alleged assault by Trump. She left her husband and established herself as feminism's answer to Hunter S. Thompson. So I just want to point out, these allegations are coming from a feminist, someone who clearly hates men and has some legitimate trauma surrounding men in her life. Perhaps there is some bias here? In June 2019, Carroll published an article in New York Magazine detailing that in the mid-90s, Trump had sexually assaulted her inside a dressing room as she was trying on lingerie at the Bergdorf Goodman department store in New York City. Now, I will circle back to this name, Bergdorf Goodman, because that alone made the authenticity of her story questionable. Trump denied these allegations, stating that he never even knew Carroll, and the only time that would constitute meeting her was in a celebrity lineup photo from 1987.
I don't know her. I never met her. I have no idea who she is. I had a picture taken years ago with her and her husband, nice guy, John Johnson. He was a newscaster, very nice man. She called him an ape. Happens to be African American. Called him an ape. The judge wouldn't allow us to put that in.
Would not be your first choice. You were referring to her physical looks, correct?
Just the overall. I look at her, I see her, I hear what she says, whatever. You wouldn't be a choice of mine either, to be honest with you. I hope you're not insulted. I would not, under any circumstances, have any interest in you. I'm honest when I say it. I would not have any interest.
Carroll's subsequent defamation suit in November of that year stated that Trump had damaged her reputation, substantially harmed her professionally, and caused her emotional pain. But here's where it gets interesting. Trump's lawyer, Alina Habba, pressed Carroll if her reputation is better now after going after Trump. She said, "No, my status was lowered. I'm partaking in this trial to bring my old reputation and status back." She also asked about her income before and after her 2019 book that contained the sexual assault allegation. After her career at Elle magazine ended, she made about $100,000 from Substack posts and some income from her books. Carroll has testified she made $60,000 at Elle magazine before she left in 2019, though she has said she has made as much as $400,000 in 1 year at her peak in the 90s. Carroll's once lucrative career from Elle fizzled by 2018, and that's when she decided to write a book that detailed the Trump allegations. She's not someone who had a career destroyed by Trump. The exact opposite happened. Her career was made by her accusations against Trump based on a completely made-up story. And it's not uncommon for women to make false accusations of rape for these reasons.
You have never wavered over these years. The jury came back for many people surprisingly fast. What did you think when you heard their decision?
I had the exact reaction you just had before the camera came on. You said when you heard it, you went, hooray! That's how I felt inside.
Now, getting back to this Bergdorf-Goodman story, right after Carroll's New York Magazine article was published, a 40-second clip from a Law and Order episode began circulating on Twitter, which involves this exact scenario. Take a look.
It was not her fantasy, it was mine. Role play took place in the dressing room of Bergdorf's. While she was trying on lingerie, I would burst in.
I think most people think of rape as being sexy.
Let's take a short break.
Think of the fantasies.
Is this just a coincidence, or is E. Jean Carroll another plagiarist like some of the familiar faces that we know? Maybe she's just a fan of Law and Order and she used it unconsciously. Regardless, the fact that there is no evidence that the assault occurred and we're looking at something taken right out of a fictional storyline only makes it less credible. I would also like to point out that this woman has severe mental health issues, and I noticed that first and foremost in this video of her showing off her property.
Some very distinguished mice live here. Kahneman lives in the kitchen. On the door are the lists of my dogs. Heidi, Tits, Bloody, and Hepburn. And then after I got done painting the rocks, I just sort of walked over here and then did that tree and then did that tree and then I did this.
Her cat was named Vagina. The judge wasn't allowed to put that in.
She also made some bizarre social media posts that appear to be obsessed with sex, violence, and pornography. Now, in no way do I support Carroll's actions or even consider her allegations to be true, but seeing that she clearly has some mental health issues, this is where I try to find some empathy for her. Clearly, Trump was not to blame for anything, but perhaps there is some trauma surrounding the men in her life that caused her to act this way. I've noticed that a lot of the women who hate Trump have these feelings about him because they're projecting their own hatred or this image of what a man is in their head onto Trump. Maybe it was something that their shitty ex-husbands did to them or what their fathers did. The trauma is real, but the anger there is directed at the wrong person. With the way the mainstream media spins things, they see this bigoted, misogynistic con man who likes to grab women by their pussies, which are the exact values to be despised in a man. Although a lot of this is heavily distorted by the media and the Democrats, I'll admit there are a lot of problems Trump has, which I can understand why women feel this way. He has a huge ego, he can be very narcissistic, and there are times when he's not very loving or sensitive. They see someone not afraid to hurt people's feelings as a disgusting trait in a man. I get it. He does not have the purest soul, but thankfully his accomplishments and his fearlessness outweigh his personality problems, which is why I'm still voting for him. Even if I gave Carroll the benefit of the doubt and Trump was possibly involved, I would need a lot more evidence simply because of her disingenuous past. Maybe the jury won't even take that into account, and I wish it was easy enough to just believe all women, but I can't deny the reality that plenty of women lie. Coming from a place of saying, what do we need men for, completely ignores the positive qualities that men have. Why there is a place for masculinity in a world that unfortunately is deeply emasculated due to society's programming. I'm not going to say Carroll is just a lunatic. I just think she has some traumatic history that hasn't been properly dealt with. Just like the rest of us, she has inherited a seriously messed up world where the emasculation of men has inhibited women's ability to be women. Maybe it was something her husband did to her. Maybe she was sexually assaulted or physically abused in some way. That is where I try to have empathy for her, but instead of dealing with the issue realistically, she would rather project her feelings onto one of the most famous men in the world, and worse, doing it for money and recognition, doing it to feel better about herself. And clearly, where the Democrats are using her to their advantage with the help of the liberal media, a corrupt judge, and a biased jury, is to create another witch hunt against Trump. There's the political angle with Fani Willis's election interference case. You have Jack Smith's January 6th case, the business angle with Letitia James' civil fraud suit, and now you have the rapist, misogynist angle with E. Jean Carroll. The Democrats will not stop, and they don't care if this woman commits perjury, because that's what it is, in order to keep this whole charade going. Trump almost missed his mother-in-law's funeral when Judge Kaplan, friend and appointee of the Clinton family, denied his request to delay the trial for that day. Even more convenient that the trial was planned a day after he won the Iowa caucuses. It's another witch hunt and nothing more.
It's time to stop!
Let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more content. Thanks for watching Inverted World.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?